And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
What's happening, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hear a little background.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get
Sorry,
laid.
guys. We're having some technical problems as usual. Kind of think it's on Joe's end, but whatever, you know. We are cool. Welcome to the broadcast. It seems like that is fixed now.
Having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life.
Maybe not.
And about reality.
And now, America's
We're just going to wait.
show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Oh, it seems like it's on a loop. What's happening, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hear a little background. It never ends. Guys who are on the phone, I'm sorry. I don't know what the fuck is going on. You're cool. Welcome to the broadcast. It seems like that is fixed. It has to become, I mean, I have no computer that's actually connected that would come through the board. And I don't know what just happened with the visual right there, but whatever. We're just going to wait. Oh, it seems like it's on a loop. This is what I suggest, Joe. It never ends. I'm not going to stop streaming. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just let you disconnect and reconnect. And I can't hear you now, by the way. It has to become, I mean, I have no computer that's actually connected that would come through the board. And I don't know what just happened with the visual. I gotta tell you, this is a real fucking professional production.
Can you hear me now?
I can. And
Okay.
the loop seems to have... Wait, now I hear it again. This is what I suggest, Joe. It never ends. I'm not going to stop streaming.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to just let you... Don't say okay. Disconnect and reconnect. I said that about 5 minutes ago. And I can't hear you now, by the way.
Let's see.
Can you hear me in real time, Joe, by the way?
I just did, yeah. Let me disconnect.
Disconnect and reconnect. Like I say, this is a real... All right, boys, listen, we're going to try to start this broadcast without Joe because he's having technical issues on his end. Let's hope that when he reconnects, we no longer have the issue. If you're new to the broadcast, don't know who I am, why I'm here, and why I have a Red Bull and water with me is because I need some energy today. I am a consumer advocate for men and women dealing with hair loss. I'm the founder of the American Hair Loss Association, the author of The Bald Truth, The Truth About Women's Hair Loss, also the founder and director of Consumer Patient Affairs for the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. I've been doing this for a very, very long time, actually too fucking long, to be honest with you guys. And the reason I'm still here after 21 years is because we are in a place in the world of hair loss that is more dangerous than it has ever been. As needed as I was, or as the concept of truth and preaching truth in this industry was 21 years ago, it has never been needed more than it is today. We were talking about, and listen, I think the advent of social media, the evolution of the internet has had some incredible positives, not only in my life, but obviously in the lives of all of mankind. However, it's a double-edged sword because now anyone has a platform to become an influencer, to discuss issues that they really might not have, a tremendous amount of insight about. A lot of guys are out there, and women are out there, just kind of regurgitating shit that they read online. And they have been able to build audiences because they are either attractive or they are young, and they're very relatable to millennials and whatever that next generation is, which I should know, but I am old. And they are out there essentially providing information about how to fix yourself, as opposed to information about truly educating yourself before you do anything to even attempt to treat your hair loss. You know, the bottom line is, before you buy any product or service to treat your hair loss, I would say the easiest thing is you can contact us through the American Hair Loss Association, and one of our volunteers will get back to you. Or just tune into this broadcast. That's it. All you're going to get here is the truth. That's it. Let me see if Joe's back. He's not back. He's having problems. We are here to guide you, and I've been doing this for a very long time, in a safe direction when it comes to anything and everything hair loss. And that's a very difficult thing for most people to swallow because, again, especially men, they're looking for a fix. So I'll tell you how it normally works. People will go and buy somebody who wrote somebody's ebook, some guy who wrote an ebook in his mother's basement to try to get information because he somehow found the cure for hair loss where no one else has. He found the cure that has not been on the cover of Time magazine, that has not been all over national news, has not been part of the 24-hour news cycle every 4 fucking minutes like it would be. But this guy who's sitting in his mother's basement, who decided to put together an ebook on how he treated his hair loss, is getting all of your attention. Or the guy that is selling products and services on YouTube, they're getting your attention. And then what happens is people get fucked up, they lose their money, or they become, or sadly they are disfigured because they've made the wrong decision to fly to some far-off land to have a cheap hair transplant, and then they circle back to us. So in reality, guys, if you really want to know the truth, it is in my best interest financially for more people to be fucked up, for more people to need our services, for more people to come to us for help after the fact than for you guys to come to us first. That's my reality. The worse this industry gets, the more money I make. Now, it seems counterintuitive that I want you guys to avoid being fucked up. But that's what I've been trying to do for 21, almost 22 years, at least publicly. Joe, I think you're back, by the way.
Yes.
And there's no loop yet.
Yay.
So when you guys find us, you have to understand, and Joe's in the same position now that he's an independent. The worse the industry gets, the better we do. That is just reality. Now, if we're able to help you guys and guide you guys in a safe direction, I still do well. That's great. And that is my preference. I'd rather make a little less money and ensure that you guys are finding the right physicians, are making truly informed decisions before you jump into buying some sort of bullshit product or service. Understand that 99% of all products and services, why am I out of breath, that are being that are being sold, that are being touted as something that will help or treat your hair loss are complete bullshit. They will not help you. You can watch CNBC, Fox News, and I know that's a dirty word for most of you guys, but you should have some sort of balance in your news cycles and your new, in your news viewing. Not saying that Fox News is necessarily news, but whatever. If you watch any of these cable channels, you're going to see ads for now laser devices. You're going to see ads for companies who are selling everything from minoxidil-based products, finasteride, generic finasteride, fucking premature ejaculation wipes, herpes medication, for cold sores and for herpes virus 2, HV2, is that what it is?
HPV?
Not HPV. There's nothing you can do about that shit. That shit is like undetectable in most men unless they actually have some sort of venereal wart. So I would say that most millennials are walking around with HPV. That's it. If you're going to have sex now, recognize you're probably going to have HPV. That's just the way that it is.
Or just be a bubble boy.
You have to be a bubble boy. You would actually have to wear a condom that not only covers your penis,
junk,
but it would have to be like a total cock and ball situation, maybe even like a wrap, like a underwear type of thing.
I'm thinking a diaper,
like a latex diaper, in order to avoid that shit. That's the reality. The good news about that particular disease is, in most people, it will resolve itself on its own within, a few months or a few years, except for a couple of strains which can cause fucking cancer, like dick cancer and cervical cancer. That's the reality. So you know what? It's like getting in your car. Every time you get in your car, you take a chance of getting killed. Every time you want to fuck now, that's just the reality of this world. It's kind of sad, isn't it?
It's really sad, but that's the...
I'm not going to stop fucking now. Sorry. That was really crude and a little telling.
That's what we do. Embrace the crudeness.
But here's the reality. Again, we just want to provide you guys with a safe place to get information, where the type of place that I did not have when I started to go through the initial throes of hair loss, when I was a complete mess, an emotional just wreck of a human being, when I first noticed that I was losing my hair at 21 years old. Oops. That's it. No one was shaving their head. You had Telly Savalas. You had Yul Brynner. That's it. No role models.
Was a skinhead Nazi.
Anyone else, exactly. Or they were, dealing with some sort of an illness, either cancer or autoimmune disease like immune hair loss like alopecia areata. Yeah. That's it, man. That's what we had to deal with.
But no one knew about that. So if you were dealing with that, you still looked like a Nazi.
Yes. Without eyebrows.
Like that was the assumption, because if you weren't Telly Savalas or Yul Brynner, everyone else was a skinhead.
It's with this dermatch bubble that happened today. Sorry.
What's that?
Like a hair bubble. I filled it with dermatch, and it's like a bubble today. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Kind of did a rush job. But anyway, guys, this is we consider this to be your safe place. If you don't want to learn about the truth, if you don't want to speak to each other and to others who are dealing with hair loss, and communicate with people who really understand this industry, don't watch the show. There are plenty of YouTubers out there who are doing their thing. You can get all of your information from them. But I promise you, you'll be back.
They are happy to modify what they're doing to satisfy your curiosity for a few bucks.
And to sell you some shit. Now, I keep saying this, but this is the truth. I'm a capitalist. I understand it. These are young guys, and they figure, hey, this is a vulnerable market. I can fucking make a fortune. Look how many followers I have. Look, there's a sucker born every minute, man. That's it. And this industry and the weight loss industry and the hard-on industry, a lot of suckers.
It's by the way, your sound is kind of low for me.
Is it low? Really?
Yeah, I had to crank up my end, and I'm hearing hiss and everything because I'm so loud.
That's really weird. Why would it be low? It sounds. Hold on. I'll raise it slightly.
Maybe in the chat room. Can anyone in the chat room tell me how the sound is for you guys?
I just raised it, and now I'm clipping a little bit. I'm in the yellow, but it's going to be louder.
It's better. I got my levels normal on my end. The landscape or the YouTube scape at this point, it doesn't I don't know. It never ceases to amaze me how, I mentioned, people are adapting their channels for what they think people want, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you gotta feed your audience what they want. But I've been noticing something that is occurring on some channels that I've been requested of. Like I get people all the time saying, "Can I pay you for your time? Can I pay you for a consultation?" I had one guy saying he had just flown in from Singapore and he wants to see me. And unfortunately, I didn't have time. But he's like, "I will pay you whatever you want. I'm in town now, and I know you live here. I want like half an hour of your time." I don't like anyone out there. It's like I don't charge for consultations because I don't really do consultations, and I could do consultations. I used to do it for a living, but I don't get the. I mean, for me, it would make sense because I know what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm seeing people online now that have never worked in a clinic, that have never really had any sort of training or experience with hair transplant surgery other than having maybe one surgery themselves, and they're now trying to charge you guys for their opinion about your case.
Wait a second. So these guys are now out there charging for consultations?
Yeah. It blew my mind. It's like, what qualifies this guy? It's not just one, but what qualifies these people to give an opinion that's worth paying for? I don't understand it.
I can't listen. I can't blame them. And if people are stupid enough to pay them, then fuck it. That's how I feel about it at this point. That's how I feel about it at this point. These guys are not doing anything illegal. They are giving their opinion, which is, not necessarily, at least based on what I'm seeing as far as their personal experience, may not be they may not have enough information to really provide an opinion that's going to be as helpful as it can be. However, listen, I don't think they believe they're doing any harm. So in my mind, I think it's our job to try to educate people, just to say, look, most of these guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They may know a little bit. They have some experience. They're just out there to try to make a buck. And frankly, maybe I'm being too nice about it, but the reality is I don't see anything wrong with it, except that, what I see wrong is that the guys who are out there trying to get this information aren't taking enough time to educate themselves on their own. Because if they were, they wouldn't be doing this.
That's part of the problem of today's market to begin with. Yeah, no one wants to spend the time to learn. When people are fine with booking a surgery halfway around the world from looking at photos on fucking Instagram.
By the way, speaking of Instagram, I'm going live on Instagram now, guys. So do me a favor, like my Instagram page at Spencer Kobren, or follow it, or whatever you guys do. And also in the chat room, tell me how the levels are now. I raised Joe's levels a little bit. Joe asked me to raise mine, but I think it was clipping, so I brought it down a little bit. Hopefully it's all just perfect now. Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say, maybe it's a situation of where, if people are willing to make those kinds of decisions based on Instagram photos that are on a phone, like an image that fills up no more than the real estate on your phone, to where, the aesthetics of what they're seeing is enough for them to book surgery to fly halfway around the world. Maybe they deserve what they get, because it's this idea that you can just shop on your phone for a hair transplant, and people are hopping on planes and flying halfway around the world or on the other side of the planet because of what they're seeing on Instagram, and then booking through WhatsApp. Maybe they deserve it. I don't know, but I just, like, today's one of those days where I'm pretty fucking beat right now, because I got up real early. I was on a construction site all day, which I really didn't want to be, and I didn't get back until right before the show, and so I'm kind of cranky. But
well, dude, I just got out of the fucking shower, and it usually takes me. I was telling somebody today, it usually takes me about 15 minutes to blow dry my hair and spray it. I didn't have 15 minutes. I did it in like 7.5 minutes, and now I have this crazy bubble of hair that I have to, that's going to be out there in perpetuity.
See, now I can't stop looking at it. I didn't notice anything until you mentioned it, and now I can't stop looking at it.
Damn it.
Wow.
No, you are, I mean, everyone, you guys are, thank you. You guys are, it's sad. It's sad what's happening, but you know what? We're just going to keep plugging away. And like I told you, what people don't truly understand is the worse this industry gets, the more money I make, the more money you make. That's just the nature of the game. The reason I became who I became is because this industry was so fucked up 21 years ago. Then things started to get better. And, we kind of maintained our presence. And I was just like, this is great. You know what? It's kind of like an annuity. Just keep doing our thing. We have this core group of physicians who are doing really well for patients. We've essentially changed the entire field, which was awesome. So in general, like, what the fuck else did I need? I mean, I had a best-selling book in 5 fucking countries. I was all right. And then all of a sudden things started to fall apart again, and bingo. The worse it gets, the better we do. And that includes you. These guys don't understand that. We are not out here to try to educate you in order for us to make more money. I was actually, it's funny because I'm starting to build this Instagram presence. It's slow, it's organic, but it's happening. Someone contacted me, and I decided to take their contact them and essentially take their call. And they're talking about, trying to get me more leads for my business, and, this is what we can do, and that's what we can do. I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to get leads for anything. I have nothing to sell.
I get that email.
Say that again?
I get that on LinkedIn all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, and so you try to explain what you're doing, and they're like, so wait a second, you're not trying to create, get your message out there so you can earn more money, so that you can, create more. I hate the word passive income. The term, there's no such thing as passive income. That's like home ownership. It's one of the biggest American cons that there is. That's a whole other story. But when you try to explain what you're doing, they can't wrap their heads around it. So these marketing firms can't help me. They can't help you. They really can't help too many people in this industry unless these guys just want to get leads.
They confuse me also with like a marketing firm, or a lot of times even a doctor or a clinic. Like, I'm a clinic. How to increase your leads? How to increase your repeat patient returns? That was another one. And I never talk to these. Like, I get people, they want to talk to me, they want to call me. I ignore their emails. I never give out my number for them to call me, or I never call them, because I know what they think. And that is that somehow my living is based on the amount of leads that I get because I sell something. I can't charge to sell the truth. I can, but it's out there for free consumption. And a lot of doctors don't even get that.
Nobody gets it. The current president of the ISHRS is so consumed with my ability and my future income, my ability to earn income over all these years, and my future income, that he has essentially helped to tie the hands and make their organization impotent as far as truly being able to educate consumers and make this a safer place. Every time we have spoken, and I'm talking about Arthur, so I know that Ricardo will send this to Arthur so you can hear it. But the reality is, anytime we spoke, his whole issue kept coming up, well, if we do this, you're going to be making this much money a month. And isn't that a lot of money? And I'm like, I'm going to make that much money whether we do it or not. I'm just going to do it on my own. So why shouldn't your organization and the hair loss community as a whole really be able to benefit from a massive effort to educate this industry? I mean, to educate the consumers of this field. And he cannot answer that. Every time the response was, I'm not going to give the figure, but in his mind, he thought it's an obscene amount of money. So what has happened since the last time we spoke? Well, I've had, 340 applications to the IHRS, which we're sifting through now. And if you look at it every week, we are adding new members and new associate members. We will have the number of people to do what we need to do within 6 months. And the issue is that the scientific body, the ISHRS, sadly will be left out of this equation because they're going in a direction that I believe, at least with the whole black market thing. I was talking to somebody from the west of the Middle East last night, who is like, you can't even believe what is happening. And they're actually, their own membership is fed up with it. So I don't know why I got into this rant, but I know we were talking about money and making more money through, letting this industry fall apart, whatever it is. That's all everyone is fucking concerned about. Why can't they just look at the message, which is, look, this is a fucked up industry. You're not all going to be helped. If you're losing your hair, you have a chance of saving it. You have a chance of restoring it. You have a chance of, say, you want to wear a good hair system especially for women, but guys too, if it wasn't such a stigma, could really move on with their lives if they wanted to go that route. But most of what's being sold out there and most of the physicians who are in this field fucking suck. I think it's a very simple message.
It is a very simple message. Not only do most of them suck, more of them suck today than there's ever existed, total. There's so many doctors out there now that are doing this, so much more than what there used to be. And the numbers of doctors, or the proportion of doctors that are really bad at what they do, is much higher, because so many more doctors are getting in that have no clue what they're doing, if they even do it at all, if they even have a hand in the surgery to begin with.
Well, they don't do it at all. Most of the guys in Los Angeles now, when you look at the number of hair transplant facilities, and I use that term loosely because they're really not geared towards hair transplant surgery.
Hair transplant buildings.
Right. Well, per capita, okay? The proportion of real hair transplant surgeons to guys who are just hanging up a shingle, buying a turnkey device, and letting technicians, and there are great technicians out there, but stranger, like per diem traveling technicians perform surgery on these vulnerable patients. The percentage of real surgeons is tiny in Los Angeles. There was on the WhatsApp group, there was a well-known Los Angeles surgeon. It's not you, by the way, the guy who's thinking every time I say well-known, he thinks it's him. But he was saying, listen, things are slower than ever in his market, which is LA. Are you guys finding this to be the same, for you in the LA area or in New York or other parts of the country? And he kind of blamed it on the looming recession, which is, first of all, that's not even going to happen. That is essentially the news is creating this recession.
Fake news.
Yeah.
It's fake news.
If anyone understands the stock market, and if anyone has any investments, and anyone understands real estate, you know this is not going to happen. But again, that's just, I'm not. Go ahead. What?
And I got another piece of fake news. Continue your thing, but I got a piece of fake news to share.
You just fucked me up. I just forgot what I was going to say. Oh, so I posted. I said, I got to tell you, Los Angeles market for hair transplant surgery is fucking booming, man. I have, in my 21-year career, it's a little longer than that, I have never seen it, so many people having hair transplants in New York or LA. I mean, it has grown exponentially. And the amount of inquiries through the IHRS and the American Hair Loss Association, and even through the Bald Truth site, is we can't handle it. We had to bring on a new volunteer for the American Hair Loss Association and a new part-time, which I was told I should get an intern. For some reason, I just don't feel they can handle it. But a new part-time person to answer emails for the IHRS. That's how busy we are. So there's a reason why this guy's not busy in LA, and that reason is all of these plastic surgeons, cosmetic surgeons, facial plastic and reconstructive surgeons who are getting into the field are eating these guys for lunch.
Absolutely.
Because like the conversation I had, and I posted this online, I was at the Peninsula Hotel having a drink with a board-certified plastic surgeon who bought a turnkey device, and he said to me after his second martini, he's a fun guy, by the way, he's like, these guys can't compete with me. I'm a fucking board-certified plastic surgeon. And you know what? He's right.
Yeah. Well, that plays into, this issue with, the idea that only surgeons should be doing a hair transplant. Well, most hair transplant doctors aren't surgeons.
That's so funny that you said that, because I remember at this year's conference, and guys, we'll take your calls in a second, 888-659-3727. Everyone is holding on. I'm sorry we're going through this, but it's important information for you guys to, I think, to kind of be privy to. This is inside information that you guys would not know otherwise, because everyone is trying to sell you some bullshit. But I was actually standing in this conference, and I was talking to one person who's actually a board-certified general surgeon, Dr. Sharon Keene, who is been an IHRS member, one of our founding members. And I was talking to Arthur Tykozinski, who is the current president of the ISHRS. And he said to me, well, don't you think it really should be surgeons doing surgery? And he was talking, I was trying to explain to him how I think that's a bad idea. And you guys are essentially promoting the fact and helping these board-certified plastic surgeons with real surgical residencies.
But zero experience in hair transplant surgery.
Say that again?
But zero experience in hair transplant surgery.
Right, but they are board-certified surgeons, right? Yep. So they have board-certified in general surgery and board-certified in plastic surgery. Two true surgical residencies.
Yeah.
And I told them, are you a surgeon? What percentage of doctors who are performing hair transplant surgery have surgical residencies? And of course, Dr. Keene raised her hand and said, I have surgical residency. And she said, you know what? Spencer's 100% right. We should probably not concentrate on this. But you know what? They chose to continue, and they are fucking themselves up. And sadly, in turn, that's really hurting the consumers, because most of the guys who got into hair transplant surgery they were in other specialties, whether it was ENT, they were ENTs, or they were dermatologists, or they are even emergency medical specialists who happen to have really good hands and have really committed their lives to this.
But most people don't realize, the lay public don't realize that just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you're a surgeon. If you're a surgeon, obviously you're a doctor, but it's not a two-way street.
Well, let's put it this way. You could be an MD or a DO, and you can deliver babies if you want. You have a license in this country as an MD or DO to perform fucking open heart surgery legally. But it doesn't mean you have any experience at it. And it doesn't mean you're not going to kill somebody.
Exactly. That's the thing. And people don't realize this. So, but all it would take would be a campaign against the campaign to educate people. It's like, well, yeah, surgeons should be doing hair transplant surgery. And guess what? Most of them aren't.
And what do you think is happening? What do you think the rumblings are? What do you think that these surgeons are telling me behind the scenes? I tried to express this to Arthur Tykozinski. I tried to express this to the executive committee of this scientific organization. And they look at me like, all right, Kobren, all you care about is making more money. I don't understand it. How can they not fucking get it? And you know what? In the end, patients are going to be harmed. And it's happening from October. And it's almost like, what is it now, August? In the last 10 months, I have seen this industry decline in a way and more rapidly than I've ever seen it in my entire career. In just 10 months.
Yeah.
Let's take a phone call. 888-659-3727. Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Sasha, Northern New Jersey.
Hey, Sasha.
Hear me?
Hey, Sasha, how are you? Listen, you're going to hear me turn on and off my mic because I'm trying to get people on Instagram to be able to hear you through my monitors. So there may be a slight disconnect once in a while.
Hey, just remember, Instagram is cancer.
Social media in general is cancer.
The reality is that is where people's attention is right now, and I think that in order for us to really start helping more people, we got to grab their attention, and I completely neglected this for a very long time.
Right. Well, now the crazy thing is you got bodybuilders, and this is all over the place now, giving advice on hair loss, like full-blown advice. Guys in their early 20s who sprinkle steroids on their cornflakes are telling me what medicines I should not take.
I love it.
Dude, you know what? Here's how I feel. I love when you guys say this and you guys preach this truth. I'm torn because I kind of understand that part of me believes that these guys, these influencers, believe in what they're saying. And because, back in the day, and I know this sounds odd to most young people who were brought up on the internet and now social media, but back in the day, in order to become an influencer, you had to be truly vetted as an expert. In order for me to be,
of course.
In order for me to be published, in order for Simon & Schuster, Contemporary, McGraw-Hill to publish my work, a doctor, a physician had to vet this, and an entire legal team had to vet the information that I provided. I couldn't just write a volume and then have it published by a major publisher. It was a completely different world.
Yeah, those days will never come again.
No, those days are over. But the good news is, there's never been a better time, I think, in history to be able to get your message out to the world. I had to bust my balls and do it old school. If I had what you guys have today, what kids had today, and I had the motivation, I started, at when I was younger, and I wasn't like old school, would have crushed it. Say if I just started 6 or 7 years ago, it would have killed. You know what? Now we got to play a little catch up, and I think we're going to make it happen. But sadly, again, too many people just want to be fixed. They don't want to be educated, and so I have to find a certain balance. Plus, look, let's face it, I'm not young. I mean, there's a certain amount of there are people who are going to be find me relatable, younger people, and then there are people who are going to be like, what the fuck is this guy with a whole Trump the early years hairdo going to tell me about fucking hair loss?
No, but I think people see you as one of the cool guys. I think that's what's relatable about you. You're pretty ageless.
Well, again, I appreciate that, and people lie to me about that all the time.
I'm not lying to you, man. And believe me, I wouldn't be a fan otherwise.
I feel. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 39.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen. You know what's funny? I used to hear 39 and be like, "That shit is old." You're like a child. Yeah. You could be my kid.
Oh, I'm a baby. I got a maid. Please.
Listen, my stepson, who's not really my stepson, but he refers to me as a stepfather, is coming into Los Angeles. He's got some work, and he's coming here. You guys know him as Andrew Zarian, the founder of the Guys from Queens, and internet broadcasting pioneer. But he's a kid, when I really think about it. I am certainly old enough to be his father. And I'm referred in his household as Stepdad Spence.
Well, I've shown your show to women that I date, and they're just dating these women. I'm not marrying them.
No, I appreciate that.
Well, that kind of comment, how could you?
Right, so it looks like the live stream just went offline for some reason, Joe.
Yeah, I see that.
But Joe, your hair's coming in really well, by the way.
Well, you haven't seen the hair. You just seen the front that hasn't been cut. Sorry, hold on a second. We're
good point.
Our live stream just went offline.
So,
I don't know
so
why.
I am still streaming to your stream. So on my end, it's still working.
And our connection's working because this must be a YouTube thing. Let's see. Caller's still on the line.
Correct.
I can hear it.
Yeah, we still have all lines lit. So anyway, I will do this part of the broadcast just for Instagram and for everyone who's listening on iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio. I know you can't see the stream, but I'm pretty sure that the stream is going out audio. So anyway, man, caller, what's your question?
All right, so look, as it turns out, I hate it when people call and they say the word finasteride because I'm just so bored with the whole topic. But I have a dope finasteride story, so that's why I'm calling. So, all right, I've been losing my hair glacially since I was 16. Very glacially, but, like you say, it's progressive.
That's a very interesting term, glacially. I like that.
Thank you. You said that the last time when I first called 14 months ago. And
well, listen, so, I can't remember what I ate for breakfast, dude. I'm 54.
I'm just messing with you. Either way, I feel that I'm going through this, and I can't be the only one that this is phenomenon for it. So, for example, I was using finasteride 1 milligram, and I was using the minoxidil foam. But every year I would take a hit. Every year I would lose a little bit, regardless of what I did. So a couple of months ago, I went to the guy that I get it from, and I was like, you know what? Let's stop being babies around here. Give me 5 milligrams. He gives me the 5 milligrams. 2 months later, I think I'm coming back. It's like I'm telling you, I touch it, and the density is definitely coming back.
Dude, the bottom line is the shit works. I've been on this drug for... How many years have I been on this drug, Joe? Let's see, since I was, 27? You do the math. I actually have to have people do checks.
27 years.
Yeah, sign checks for me because I can't do the math. 27 years on this drug. Now, do I know what's happening in my body right now? Am I going to have some sort of bizarre form of cancer at some point?
Or a normal form of cancer?
Yeah, I have no fucking clue. I have been noticing a couple of weird, like, solar keratosis, which I don't think is related. It's probably more related to the fact that I take too much sun. But with that said, I feel pretty fucking good, I mean, I feel strong as shit. I get into the gym, and I'm training again pretty regularly, and I'm noticing my strength is going up every week. So for me, it is essentially like an anti-aging drug. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I think every man should take it whether they're losing their hair or not. That's the point where I'm in. And that's the reason why I call, not to take up too much of your time, but to all the guys that call and say that you're breaking it up into pieces, guys, you're messing with the efficacy and you're doing yourself a disservice. Just go full on. Do you really think a little pill kills all the DHT in your body anyway? No.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't want to contradict you. Listen, I went full force. I mean, I used the big guns right away. I went up to 7.5 milligrams a day at one point when I was very, very young. However, and I had no adverse side effects. However, there are people who do suffer with real side effects who once they titrate and they start to cut the pill up or do intermittent therapy, they will get benefits from the drug, and they notice that they're not getting the side effects, and eventually they might be able to. Of course, we're not physicians, so you speak to your doctor about this, but they might be able to eventually get up to the actual prescribed dosage and do really well. So, I mean, I think it really depends on the person, but I understand where you're coming from.
No, and I'm not trying to, I understand where they're coming from because, obviously they're doing it because they're scared. I'm just saying, don't be. That's all. Give it a chance.
And I think that, listen, that's how I feel about it. Sadly, I have been called, people have written, out there on the internet that I apparently have blood on my hands because I talk about my success with this drug, and that, callers calling like yourself who have had tremendous success. The reality is the majority of people who take this drug will have some degree of success as far as at least hair loss cessation. That's a tough word for me. Or some people get significant regrowth. I was one of the guys who had both the reversal of miniaturization and regrowth at a point in my life where it was critical, and I have maintained the vast majority. I would say, listen, I still, I got to pull the semi comb over. It's got a little bit of the paint job and the hairspray, but I got to tell you, even without wearing a little derm match, if I comb it just right and I have the right shampoo and blow dryer, you really can't tell, And so
you can't, and that wave that you do, that looks cool. You may call it a comb over, but everybody that I show it to thinks that your hair looks just really good.
Well, listen, I appreciate that. Listen, the reality is the biggest part of the comb over is actually just in the back. I cannot, choosing my barber, and Instagram just missed that. But yeah, this guy was saying, everyone says my hair looks good. I want you guys to know that. Anyway, but the majority, the thing is, like, I interviewed my barber when I came out to Los Angeles. I actually made phone calls. I interviewed these guys and explained my situation. People were like, "What?" One guy hung up on me, and I found a guy.
Whoa.
I found a guy who totally understood what I was talking about. And essentially, the very back is grown out probably about 1.5 inches longer than all of the rest, and that 1.5 inches gives me that coverage that I need in order to kind of just comb it back and to the side a little bit where I don't feel like there's the thin area is very visible. And that's it. That's how I live my life. And you know what? Fuck it. I don't care who knows about it.
I just can't help but I got kind of distracted because I was imagining what kind of date this guy takes these girls on where he's showing them your hair.
It's the type of date where we do whatever.
Like you pick them up. You walk up to the door. You got your flowers and your chocolates. You're like, hey, gee, Mary Sue, let's go and get something to eat. And you go out to eat, and it's like, hey, we'll go back to my place and watch Spencer Kobren.
Well, you know what I like about that is that this guy has enough confidence to say, you know what, I'm dealing with hair loss. I watch this fucked up show every twice a week, and I want to share that with the person that's in my life.
What do you think of this guy's hair?
No, but that's
awesome.
Absolutely. Because what I'm trying to do away with this whole last bastion of, being bald, this
political
correctness.
Well, good for you. There you go.
I actually explained to a very young, beautiful woman today via text that my hair hasn't moved since 1987. I don't like people touching or fucking up my hair, especially when we're outside. It has to be listen, common law has known for 18 years, do not fuck with the hair. If I right out of the shower, that's okay. Even in bed, it's just like, you know what? If you want me to remain, amorous, don't fuck with my hair.
But I am exactly the same way, which is what brings me to show them the show and, educate them on that. Don't touch my hair. For me, since the late 90s, don't touch it.
And you know what? If a woman can't deal with that, then, listen, these women are walking around, most women, not all women, with like a mask of makeup. I talk about this all the time. They leave the house in a fucking disguise.
Oh, yeah, fucking Bozo the Clown. I know. And that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, yeah, I'm a 54-year-old man who's still, who's trying to, keep some sort of a hairstyle and spray his hair, and you don't like it messed up because it took me fucking 15 minutes to get it this way, and you can't deal with it. I'm sorry, honey, but you know what? I want you to walk outside with no makeup on your face, no concealer, no eyeliner, nothing on your fucking lips. Yeah, take off your fucking, push-up bra and whatever, and your fucking Spanx, and you walk out. Because all I have in my life, in order to maintain my appearance, is my hair, or I have the opportunity to either grow facial hair or shave it. Those are my only choices. That's it. What you see is what you get. This is real.
You took the words out of my mouth, and that goes back to why I have the type of dates that I have, because if they really like you, they'll put up with anything. And if they're not going to put up with anything, I don't even want to bother.
Look, man, you know what?
It's a great system. It's a great system.
Here's the system with women, and this is just my opinion. You got to be, all you have to do is be good looking enough, meaning you're not embarrassed. They're not embarrassed to bring you around your friends. They're attracted to you to some degree, physically. And then, you listen to them. You are just genuine. And, you go from a fucking, say you're a 6, you'll go to an 8 overnight just from that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's, and I know you guys got other callers, and I'm sorry if what I'm about to say is totally useless, but I mean it. We could be walking down the street, and if we're attacked by 50 guys, they'll have to take my life before they even begin to touch you. That's what you guys have done for me.
Well, dude, I really appreciate that, man. I'm glad that you have been helped by this program, and it's important to me. Sometimes, well, it's important. It makes me, it motivates me to continue to do what we do when I hear stuff like that. So thank you.
All right, man. You guys have a great night. Goodbye.
Yeah, all right, man. Take care. Thanks for the call. 888-659-3726. Someone in the chat said this show is getting cold. We're just telling the truth, man. That's it. We're telling the truth. I'm not saying anything against women. I'm not being misogynistic. I fucking love women. I love the women. I really do. And
I love women, but I hate people.
Say that again?
I love women, but I hate people.
Yeah. Well said. And I don't mind if a woman wants to make herself up and put on high heels and do everything it takes for her to feel confident and to stuff some silicone orbs into her body or do whatever. I'm not judging. So you know what? Don't fucking judge me or anybody else. It's fucking bald shaming. That's okay. That's politically, it's like the last bastion of political incorrectness. I can still talk about that. People can shame you about that. And also, dick shaming is another one. Oh, he's got a curved dick, or he's got an ugly penis, or it's small or too big, whatever it is.
Oh my God! Look how big! Like that's just too big.
Yeah. Well, that's what you get. But that's real. All that stuff's okay. But if you talk about the size of a woman's ass, if you talk about anything about a woman's body, you are body shaming them.
Yeah.
You're fat shaming them. You're height shaming them. You're shaming them for, expressing themselves.
You're gender shaming them.
You're gender shaming them.
Yes.
So you know what? Let's throw bald shaming into the mix. Let's make that a reality, because you know what? Hair loss fucking sucks. I was just contacted by a major media outlet to talk about the emotional aspects of hair loss. And actually, I think it may be through this new Instagram thing that I'm trying to get together or trying to make work. It's not. We don't have to man up. What we have to do is just accept the fact, and people have to understand the fact that it bothers us. Just like it would bother you ladies. And it does bother women who are dealing with hair loss. But for any woman who's not dealing with hair loss, I want you to go out. Here's a good experiment. Shave just 1/4 of an inch of your hairline. Shave that off. And you go out and you live your fucking life for that, however long it takes to grow back, because it will grow back. And let's see how well you do. Let's see how, and with that, also don't wear any makeup for a month. Go to work every day. And live your life.
Good luck with that.
Good fucking luck. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello, Spencer. I'm here to dick shame you.
Dude, too late.
Okay.
You guys
Good
have
Lord.
some funny conversations. How you doing, Joe? How you doing, Spencer?
We are
Good,
well,
good.
I'm
How are
doing
you?
fine. I have no idea how Joe's doing, actually.
Tired as shit, but doing well. Glad to be here.
You're not hungry though. We don't have to cut the episode.
No,
extra short
I'm not.
'cause you
I'm
got
not
your
hangry.
sandwich.
I'm not hangry yet. I've already eaten. I was able to grab something.
Well, I was listening to your guys' show and the whole dick shaming and all this stuff that women do. I mean, they do it and they have anthems to it now. There's a girl named Salty, I think is her name, and she has a song called My Type. I can't say all the things because she uses a lot of the N-word, but her lyrics go, rich N-word, 8-figure, that's my type. That's my type. N-word, that's my type. 8-inch big, oh, that's good pipe. Bad bitch, I'm going to ride that dick all night. Like that, like the whole song's about like, I'm going to be a sugar baby, but you got to be rich and you got to have a big dick. And you look at her and she looks like a black Barbie doll. Everything on her is fake. Every single thing on her is fake. And that's the anthem. And I'm just, it drives me nuts because the social justice warrior stuff there, I can't remember that song where there's that old song where they sit there and say, they call it a rape song where the guy's all, it's cold outside. And she goes, can I come up? And the lady's like, I gotta go to bed. And he's like, let's get a drink. And he's like trying to convince her because that was the culture back then.
Yeah.
You had to, you had to court them and the women had to play coy. And then, these young kids these days listen to it and they go, it's a rape song. It should be banned from all life. And it's like, they play during, I think, Christmas, but steakhouses and stuff like that.
Well, look, make no mistake. People who get triggered are very hypocritical with what triggers them. Like, it's triggering is very selective based on one's mood, and that's all there is to it. There's no consistency with what people get triggered about.
The reality is there's certainly double standard, and frankly, all I can tell you about everything in life, everything that people think that's put out there and perpetuated online and through life and through just even before social media, almost everything's a fucking myth. Almost everything is complete bullshit. Whether it's about sex, whether it's about hair, whether it's about just the stuff that really occupies people's minds and makes them feel insecure about themselves. Most of it is fucking nonsense. Any relationship, the reality is sex is between your ears. That's just the reality. I have been with women who are fucking smoke shows, who you would never think would suck in bed. And it is just like there's a certain lack of pheromone or a certain lack of nurturing or a certain lack of something that makes them really unattractive as far as their sexuality, as far as being sexually attracted to them. And they have incredible, like, everything a guy wants, everything you see in a fucking music video, racks and butts and lips and all that stuff. It's all bullshit, man. At least in my mind, it's complete bullshit. I've had some of the worst sex with women like that. I'm not talking about Kamala. I'm not talking about Kamala. She's hot. Don't get me wrong.
I mean,
that was a different.
Don't be talking about her. I can't start talking about her.
You can talk about her.
You can just look at her and she's a quality woman.
She is a quality.
Confident. She walks and talks with confidence and pride and she looks like. I mean, I can't talk about her because I've met her. That's weird.
But it's not weird. You could talk about her. I'm sure she's probably listening. She'd love to hear it.
She's a beautiful woman. She's a nice woman, and she doesn't fall into that category of all those other people out there. I'm right there with you. I've been with really high-end looking women, and they're just. They say fun bags. So the fun kind of wears off if you're just batting them around and they don't respond to it and they don't respond to you. They're just kind of like, yeah, here's my jungle gym. Jump on it, slide down the slide, do whatever you want. And you're like, I want you to kind of bounce back with me,
Yeah, it's so funny. Instagram did not hear any of what you just said, but this is such a pain in the ass. But everyone else did.
Oh, Instagram got muted?
Instagram got muted.
I think I've said this before, but the girls that stick out in my mind is like the best, experiences, whether it be sexual or just a night on the town with them or whatever, like they're not the highest looking quality women. Like they're not ugly. They're definitely beautiful in a certain way. But like there's this one girl who had long legs, you know, modest butt, absolutely no breasts. And she was an animal. She was just like, when she left, I felt like I went to boot camp, you know, but it was in a good way, you know? And then there was this other girl, and she was a heavy-set woman, like pretty, you know, I don't want to say grimace and menace, but she had a little pear shape to her. My God, the stories I can tell you about that woman. The story, like they say, it's like the scooter, they're fun to ride. You don't want anybody to see you riding one. You know, it's like, it was just, I was like, why couldn't my ex-girlfriend be like that? You know, and I had... My ex-girlfriend, she had a little zero sense of, you know, she was a great woman in as far as personality, but like in the bedroom, she, you know, that was the problem. She was just not passionate at all. And it was like, she just thought I had to look the part, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. It's something missing in them. It's either something about, you know, like they lack a certain nurturing from their parents, or they really relied on their looks so long, you know, for their entire lives that they kind of feel like that is the only thing that is necessary for them to be attracted to a man. I got to tell you, everything in life is bullshit, and that's why it really bothers me when I hear people talking about, you know, other guys. When you hear women talking about guys' hair, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? If they're trying to do something about their hair, they must lack confidence. Just shave it, be a man." Or you hear the women who are like, I did not sign up for this." I actually heard a story from a friend of mine, I'm not going to get specific, who essentially told me that she would never, ever go out or date somebody who's bald, and she's currently married, and if her husband does begin to lose his hair, he better do something about it. And I'm thinking like, you know, bitch, you're probably going to be bald at some point. You know, like 40% of hair loss sufferers are women. That shit's going to hit you like a ton of bricks once you get off your birth control or once you have your third kid.
Or once you're in that 10th year of extensions.
Exactly.
Yeah, if I was that girl's husband, I would have a serious talk with her. I said, let's talk about it now. You know, like, let's be upfront and honest about it. Because, you know, there may be a Brad Pitt out there in the universe whose hair looks like it's not, maybe even got thicker as he got older, but, you know, who knows?
This reminds me of a question that someone was asking me in the chat room earlier. If I know of any cases where women have left their husbands because their husband was losing their hair. I don't know of cases like that, but I do know of cases where women have left their husbands because their husbands wouldn't stop obsessing about their hair. Like that, it was all they could think about. It was all they could talk about. I know one guy whose wife left him because he had multiple hair transplants, and he couldn't get off the forums. He was obsessed with learning more about hair loss and, you know, seeing what other people were doing, getting their hair transplants. And he had a good looking woman too for wife, man. She was a smoke show. And I remember thinking to myself, how did you even get, because like he wasn't, it was a mixed match. To be light about it, but she was really into him, but he couldn't get over this hair loss issue, and ruined the marriage. And the way, yeah, go ahead.
No, I know. I was let you finish. We get a little delay, so it's kind of like, well, as soon as I hear, like, you know, I try to chime in, but I want to hear what you have to say.
No, it's just it's one of those things. I mean, you just reminded me of that, where we're talking about how, you know, women are like, well, you know, what you said. Well, you know, if he starts losing his hair, he better do something about it. That's pretty common, but it just reminded me of that. Like there is a reverse where, husband did do something about it and then got kind of obsessed with it, and that's what ruined the marriage.
Well, there's varying degrees of how women respond to this, and only the biggest pieces of shit women will actually say something like, I'll never have a guy who's losing his hair, and I'll divorce him. But I think in the actual subconscious of men, we all know that it's more of a package deal, and it's a pretty big package when you lose your hair, like, especially,
no pun intended.
We're raised to... Exactly. You want your big package, and you want to keep the packages you came born with. And But the thing is that most women, I think we know, like, as you know, like they look at you in as a whole, and it's like when you lose your hair, they may not be as shallow to sit there and say, I'm going to divorce you for it. But when they're having their little, charcuterie board with wine and they're talking about all the bullshit they hate about their men or whatever, these things might pop up and it might continue to weigh on them over time. And it's the over time thing that kind of gets us down. Like, a lot of women tout themselves as like, I want my man to be a go-getter. I want him to be a problem solver. I want him to react to the problems that are presented to him both by me and life. But it's really funny how this one subject, if somebody has a hair system, a hair transplant, or, does the stupid, I shouldn't say that because some people out there, the tattoo on the head, whatever they're trying to do to solve the problem, whatever they're trying to do to make it better, they get ridiculed for. And in some ways it becomes like, like a reversed, solution to solve the problem. Obviously, in most ways, it becomes a reverse solution. But what I'm trying to say about that is basically when you're trying to do something good for yourself and it actually fires back on you tenfold because you still have.
Almost like catch-22. If you don't try to do something to fix it, then you're criticized. If you do try to do something to fix it, then you're criticized. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And and here's the thing: it's like your friend who's, or the situation where the wife was saying he better do something about it. That's what every guy fears that's going through hair loss, especially when it first starts. But it's really a self-perpetuating problem where you have guys that are already insecure being concerned about women that are insecure, that are saying that if their man loses their hair, then they better do something about it. It's insecurity feeding off of itself between two people, because a woman that's worth keeping isn't going to say that.
Bottom line is that's why I'm moving to Pahrump, Nevada. That's it.
The double wides.
I'm going to get a double wide right by the Bunny Ranch and just call it a fucking day.
Well, it's funny.
But that's the thing. It's like women that are worth keeping they're not to the point where it's like, you better do something about it. It's like, yeah, okay, well, we'll deal with it. But it also depends on how the guy wears it. If they own it, like if they change their hairstyle to make the recession or the thinning or whatever look better, shaving it, getting a shorter cut just to kind of alleviate the issue. Look, if you're receding and you got a big fucking Doc Brown from Back to the Future haircut going on, it's not a good look. Like you do look like an idiot. Cut that shit, style it, own it, work it, and do something with it. Then, you got something going on, and there's no need to feel self-conscious about it.
The thing is, when you guys, when I say you guys, I mean the listeners, when you develop hair loss and you start going through these problems and you start to try to find the solutions, whatever that may be, whether it's shaving your head and wherever you go, the thing that we should talk about often is the psychological, and we do, but I mean, like, really what you need to focus on is the psychological aspect. Whatever you're acquiring, whether it's a hair system or whether you're shaving your head, you got to look at it as you also need to acquire a sense of confidence and a sense of pride in what you're doing. Of course, do your due diligence with any type of, surgery and all that stuff. Be very careful. But what I'm talking about, whatever your trajectory is, whatever your plans go on, is don't let these things rattle you, like where you become like, I don't know if the new listeners know about this, but there was a caller that used to call him, the guy that I always do impression on is Joe from Staten Island. He always used to claim he's locked in his room. He everywhere he went, he wore sunglasses and a hat and a bandage on his head, like he got a tree fell on his head, because he wasn't mentally and emotionally prepared to handle the problem that he was dealing with.
Wait a second.
You got to acquire it.
Joe?
Really?
I I would listen to him, and he would bring a certain level of, what do you call it, confidence to my life. And I was like, well, I'll tell you a quick story. I was in the first time I ever went to Magic Mountain, I was on a roller coaster, right? And the roller coaster gets stopped on the highest incline. Like you're literally like your neck back and you're looking at the sky. It stops. And I'm claustrophobic, and I'm locked in the seat and we're like high in the sky. It's the first time I've ever been to Magic Mountain, and I couldn't believe this was going on. My cousin's next to me, and I'm telling my cousin, I'm going to freak out. I'm about to freak out. They better get this thing started now. And he's like, don't freak out. I go, I can't help it, dude. I'm going to freak out. And then 5 minutes go by, and there's this huge, massive guy in about 3 cars ahead of us, and he's all, let me out of here! Get me the fuck out! And he starts freaking out. And he's rattling the cart so bad left and right that it's shaking my cart. I'm like, oh, my God. And I looked at him, and I go, I'm glad I'm not that guy. And it totally calmed me. And that's exactly what Joe from Staten Island, the old caller, used to do. I would listen to what his life is with his child, with his wife, and I love the guy. I mean, if he's listening, I love that guy. I love him.
Listen,
I mean,
that is why I had him on the program, and why even though there were producers at certain points in my career that were like, look, you shouldn't have this guy on for as long as you do. You got to get him off the fucking air. And I'm like, you know what? People relate to him, man, or his story, his side of the spectrum makes others feel better about themselves. I thought it was important.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not that guy. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad I'm not it's not affecting me like that. And because of that, I'll never let it affect me like that. I'll never be a shut-in. I won't walk around with a bandage on my head and a hat. I won't sit there and, spend countless hours.
I can't promise you that for myself, but, I'm glad I'm glad you're good with it.
Well, yeah. So, that's something that I think, part of your due diligence when you go into this field and you start listening to them talk every week and you read these forums is to start to, bolster up your emotional and mental state about this whole affair. Because if you don't, you're going to get chewed up. There's no perfect system. There's no perfect anything. And if the countless images that you see online, or even the fact that, somebody who has a great head of hair like these two, they've both been through it, Spencer spends, what do you spend 15 minutes a day and 3 cans of hairspray?
At least. I go through a large can of hairspray every almost 2 weeks, maybe less than 2 weeks. I'm talking about a big-ass can of Tresemme or whatever I decide to buy that is like supposed to last for like months.
Like Grandma's Aquanet?
Like Grandma. Well, the thing about Tresemme, for me at least, it doesn't look overly sprayed in person. It looks a little sprayed, there's no doubt, but it's not like Aquanet is just like, it's plastic, man. You need to order pie. You need to try the pie chow. That's like the best out there. Good hold, doesn't look like it's being held. When it gets wet, it doesn't smell like Grandma's Aquanet. Best stuff out there. I kind of like that. It makes me feel, comfortable.
Like it's like you're in control. Like it's locked in.
It's locked in, man. It's locked and fucking loaded.
I love it.
Well, if you ever get on a stage, Spencer, make sure you don't have any pyrotechnics. You don't want to become Michael Jackson.
Well, that's
hurricane hold. Nick B in the chat room calls it hurricane hold. I like that.
It's funny. I was on stage not too long ago, and it was very heavy lighting. And when I noticed, like, when you wear hairspray, especially in the back, and that's why I got to set it right. I got to really comb it after I spray it. The hairs kind of like stand up a little bit in the back, and it can kind of look a little bit, I don't know, like 1965 bouffant, just at a certain angle. And I noticed that the lights were so strong that I had that effect. And you know what the truth of the matter is? I don't really give a shit because I talk about it. But it is funny to me. It's like, this is my life. This is it. This is what I deal with. And whatever. I guess I wear it on my sleeve. I let the world know. And maybe it's cathartic for me. And that's why I get away with it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Well, I've never used hairspray because when I was young, it just had this dry kind of poofy look on me. Can you acquire like a more gelled look with hairspray? Is that possible? I mean, that's a stupid question. I don't know.
All you have to do is wet your hair.
I was going to say wet your hair and then spray it.
And what you can do is you wet your hair a little bit, or you put the hairspray in a comb, and you comb your hair with hairspray on the comb, and then you spray it, and it'll give it more of a wet finish, like a mousse or a gel, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Can I buy some hairspray on bulk for me?
Yeah, actually, I order it on Amazon. I get a case, so the poor guy has to bring it upstairs, and he's like, he doesn't know what the fuck this is. It's like says flammable on it.
When you finally gone fishing, you should do your own hairspray and call it 1965. Is that the quote that you say? It hasn't moved since 1965?
It hasn't moved since 1987.
1987. Call it 1987.
That's fucking brilliant, by the way. That is actually really fucking brilliant. And if I decide to do that, I will send you a nice plant for your apartment.
Wow, quite generous.
Yeah.
Make a Balding Buddies plaque too.
I will give you a Balding Buddies plaque and just like an official TBT something. We'll figure it out.
Okay, last question. I'm going to go. This is a kind of frivolous question, but a long time ago, one of my, as I coined them, Balding Buddies was talking to him, and he has diffusing through his hair, and I have more like a like kind of a receding hairline. And we were kind of like making fun of each other. What would you rather have? Would you rather have like a nice straight hairline, but it's diffused throughout? Or would you rather have like, decently thick, hair, but a receding hairline? And both of us were claiming what we owned. He was claiming, I'd rather have my hair. I'd rather have my hair. We called each other names and shit. And,
if you're asking what I would rather have, absolutely fullness and a little bit of a shitty hairline. That's
all right.
I would rather have a little bit
of
a receding hair because you have, if you have more hair to play with, you can actually, I believe, camouflage the hairline a little bit better.
Sorry, what was the question?
Would you rather have a nice straight hairline, diffuse through as it goes throughout, or would you rather have like a decent amount of hair that's like a receding hairline?
In other words, would I rather be like I am now, or have a straight hairline with diffused coverage? I'm fine with recession.
Recession, okay.
Dude, I have I have like a 5 head, especially in the corner. If I lift it straight up, it's like it's like a triangle. I call it. It's like the golden triangle. And it is what it is, and it's worse on the other side, and that's why I kind of like comb it and spray it that way. And it's. To me, when you're in your 40s and 50s or even late 30s, it's fine. It's normal looking. But when you have significant diffused hair loss, it's almost like female pattern hair loss. When guy keeps his hairline, but it's thin all the way through, and like they go out in the sun, and you can basically see what he's fucking thinking.
Yeah.
That's
go
ahead.
No, he started using that. I can't remember some shampoo, and he said it. I don't know. I haven't. He lives out of state now, but I haven't seen him in a while. But he was able to play with it a little bit. But it started to, his hair grew his hair out long. It started to look like little dreadlocks almost, kind of like.
But with that said, though, I will say that if you have enough hair with a diffuse pattern or the unpatterned alopecia or dupa, and you have enough hair with a strong hairline, that makes concealers a really good option.
Best friend. Yeah, absolutely. But I was going to say, like, if you do have more of the female style loss where the hairline is stable as far as its shape, but you're diffuse thinning through the top, then that's like a brand new playground insult. Dude, you're balding like a girl.
Only we would know that.
Wow.
I know, but it's like...
That hurt my heart. My heart.
All right, listen, not Joe from Staten Island. We are going to take some more calls. You're always a great caller, and I love the fact that you're back. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for calling back with the not Joe from.
And you know what? Next time you decide if you're able to work soon and you're at some other facility, let me know. I'll come visit.
Yeah, definitely. You got my info on the FB. Just send me a message. I'll entertain anything.
Well, I'm not saying we're going to hang out to you. I'm talking about when you're working.
Oh, you're really so happy right now. You're really so happy. I'm doing all these like jokes that no one gets because he doesn't call.
Yeah, exactly.
He disappeared. I think he is expecting me to contact him, which I have a you know, his phone. He's not in my phone. I had his number actually written on a piece of paper. Believe it or not, that's how long I known the guy, and that is gone. So, and sadly, this is sad news. I'm not going to say who this person is, but apparently the one person who was in contact with him is now dealing with some sort of a, I don't know if it's a physical or a mental incapacity.
Ooh.
And he's kind of out of the picture too. Joe will not call back.
Was that, I won't name his name, but Jay?
Jay.
Is that was the other guy? Is that the letter of his first name?
No, not the other guy that likes chicks with cranks.
Okay.
Another guy.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Starts with D. And
yeah.
He just kind of, I recently checked his Facebook page, and there's a whole drama going on there, man. Like, it's really frightening. And he's a young dude. I mean, not young, but he's only a couple of years older than me.
Well, the funniest thing that I laughed my ass off this one time is Joe called, and it was, you did some kind of New Year thing, and he had said, you guys were talking and said, like, well, you don't really have a sidekick. I think it was about the time you were thinking about, changing things up a little bit. And then he goes, oh, and you just kind of like, like it was like off the cuff remark. You're kind of like my sidekick. And he instantly like had that quiver in his voice and tears in his eyes. You can hear, oh, you just made me so happy. And the look on your face, like, oh shit. I just
what did I do?
A shit pile landmine. And
yeah.
Like, you've been calling for, and you were trying to like backpedal. You've been calling for 20 years. So I mean, if anybody's kind of my sidekick, it's, oh, you're so happy right now.
Yeah, and, when you do that, you kind of sound like the guy from Silence of the Lambs.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I purposely put him in there, Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, Buffalo Bill. Yeah. But that's the reality is there have been people who actually have said that Joe from Staten Island essentially wants to wear my skin. I never said that. I don't believe that.
I don't think so either. It's just funny jokes. It's just little like tidbits. But anyways, I got to get off. And one last question: do you guys have a Friday show? Am I catching like you're also broadcasting Friday, or are you rebroadcasting?
Yeah, we try to. 5 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, so it's okay. All right. So I was like, am I seeing a double show? I don't know when you guys started that, but. Okay, I'll try tuning in then. Okay, you guys have a good show though.
Cool.
All right, man. Listen, thank you so much, and I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, no, I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
All right, man.
Right
we'll talk soon.
Struggle.
Take care.
Okay, all right.
See you, buddy.
Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. Joe, what?
I want to answer a question for Chaudhry. Let's see, Chaudhry Shadab. He was trying to call in from Asia. He couldn't get through. I don't know if he was getting the busy signal, which is actually a notice saying, thanks for calling, call back again later or something like that. That's actually the busy signal people. But he was saying that he's 9 months. Hang on, I got to find what he's saying. He's post-transplant 9 months. He's been suffering from seborrheic dermatitis. It's very bad. In my head, gets way too much itchy, which is uncomfortable with all the shampoos I've used so far. I at one point had something similar. It was not. I wasn't still recovering from my last hair transplant or the one from 2010. I think it was after that. Yeah, I think it's around 2000. Actually, it's before that. I think. Yeah, it was before that last surgery. I think it was around 2008, 2009, and I had a case of like flaky scalp that was crazy. It was like seborrheic dermatitis, and I tried.
Pronounce that again, because I think you mispronounced it, and it just sounds funny to me.
Seborrheic dermatitis. Is that it?
I'm not going to correct you because I could be wrong.
Seborrheic.
And then I'll sound like the idiot.
No, the H is silent. It's seborrheic.
Isn't it seborrheic?
Sure. In some countries, maybe. Tomato. Anyway, seborrheic dermatitis.
Listen, maybe Dr. Mejia can call in and let us know how to pronounce
He
that.
will. He would be able to correct us on that. But I tried Nizoral, which I use today every once in a while. Actually, I haven't used it in a while, but I was using that to keep it under control. But what got rid of it for me was I did two things. Number one, I used a coal-based shampoo. What I was using, the one I was using is discontinued, but there was another one that came out that was using the same active ingredients called Tardan, Tardan. Don't know if you can get a hold of it. You got to do a Google search. You might be able to get it through Amazon dot whatever, like Indian Amazon. I think you're in India. That stuff was awesome. But what I also did is I cut out certain foods in my diet, namely sugar. Sugar and carbs. I basically did like an early version of keto diet, and I did that for quite a while, and all that, everything about my scalp just improved. My hair actually improved. Lost a lot of weight too, so that was a great side effect of that as well. But shampoos in general aren't going to do anything. It has to be a very specific type of shampoo, and what works for you may not be what worked for me. But I would highly suggest that you look into ketoconazole based shampoos, and if that doesn't work, then look into tar based shampoos. And yes, tar, TAR, like tar sands or tar pits or whatever. That's that kind of tar. Look into that and try it. If you've spoken to your dermatologist or your dermatologist and you haven't talked about this, ask them about tar-based shampoos. It can help people with this kind of issue. But also your diet, your nutrition helps a lot too. So garbage in, garbage out. I hope that helps. So,
well, I think that was a very lucid and very well thought out response to this person's question. And I'll tell you this: I am starting to notice. Like I said, I talk about my personal issues. I have been kind of known, like who knows me?
Known?
My inner circle and people I meet, I've kind of been known for having, like, for some reason, good skin, youthful skin, dewy skin. Like everyone's like, you're glowing. Don't know why. Yep. Smoked on and off for 35 years. Like I'll go out, get fucking loaded, and bum a cigarette, or go.
Imagine how great your skin would be without it.
I think about that, and I'm in the sun all the fucking time. Now I'm playing ball outside, so I'm in that fucking sun. I still lay out or swim, by the pool, whatever. These things are starting to catch up to me, and I'm trying to find every excuse, as far as dietary excuse, on how to avoid them from creeping up. Because I'm going to have that shit removed, which is a pain in the ass. I don't like the way it looks, and also, listen, a very small percentage of it is actually precancerous. I actually think that it's a money grab for dermatologists to say that solar keratosis is actually a major precancerous sign, because statistically, I think it's less than 0.08% of solar keratosis turn into squamous cell carcinoma. But right away, they're like, precancerous, let's fucking put some medicine on there or cut that shit off or whatever it is, because you don't want to get skin cancer. Yeah, I get that. But to me, it's just unsightly, and it's a sign of getting fucking old.
Which is what this is all about.
Yeah, and it's all about me. But I have like one here, I have one here, I have one on the side of my head. I'm like, oh man, I got to fucking do something. So I'm reading everything there is to know about diet and the reaction to the sun and diet with this thing that's starting to happen to me as I'm approaching my 55th year. So, with that said, apparently I have to eat more fish. But I'm just telling all the dermatologists out there, I'm going to go to a guy here he's actually in West Hollywood, who does Fraxel, who talks about this specifically. If you're listening, doctor, and I know you will, I'm not going to stay out of the sun because it gives me a mental boost, that a boost of serotonin and dopamine, that without it, if I'm not shooting hoops or swimming or sitting out on my new, I call it the beach. I'll show you an image of it at one point, Joe, which is like facing the sun. It's like a very small balcony. I don't function as well during the day. It's not just about the fact that I like to look and have a little color, because you can get that by, there's great spray tans now, if I wanted to look that way, that don't look yellow. It's actually enjoying the sun. It's actually feeling like there's some life in me, getting some vitamin D. You know what I mean? But you can't tell a dermatologist that, because they're like, no, you're going to fucking die. But skin cancer is on the rise. More people are using SPF, chemical SPF, than ever before and staying out of the sun, and skin cancer is on the rise. Why the fuck do you think that's happening? Because people are staying out of the sun. And they're putting these chemicals on their fucking bodies. Rant over. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? And guys, I'm sorry. I forget the order that you guys are calling in because it doesn't give me the order. So if you were holding on for a long time, I still haven't taken your call. And if this person just happened to call in and I took his call, look, I'm not paying attention. So listen, man, you're on the air from I think you are calling from a 518 area code. What's up? You got to speak, man. If you are listening to me say you have to speak, speak. Yes, hi. I can hear you. Go ahead. I'm going to hang up. You got 2 seconds to say hello. All right, man, you're on the air. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hi, hello. Is it me?
It is you.
It is you.
Oh,
yes.
It is me. Okay, it's my turn.
Who's this?
All right. Awesome. Hi, I'm Nick. I'm 22 years old, and I'm from Quebec in Canada.
Nick, welcome, man.
Hey, Nick. How are you?
I'm good.
I love the Canadians. I don't like the idea that you guys are suffering with socialized medicine, but that's just my opinion. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, we pay it in taxes, and I get half my salary eaten away. So.
Well, you know what's interesting though. Yeah, you get half your salary eaten away. There are those who aren't making a salary. They are taking advantage of it. And I will tell you, the fastest way to have something really fucked up is to get it for free. That's just the reality of life. People don't understand that. When I hear these young guys, and I hear of guys like Bernie Sanders, who I think is very funny and I happen to like, talking about healthcare being a human right, you know what? I think it's great. I think that everyone should have access to healthcare, and if you are indigent, it should be free. But the reality is, once it becomes that human right, healthcare. Why am I preaching today, Joe?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like, where'd this come from?
I don't know. But once that becomes considered a human right, then everyone's quality of healthcare goes down. The reality is that the services can't be paid for, and everyone gets fucked up. That's just the reality.
True.
I would much rather
horrendous queues and all that.
Yeah, if I would rather, if you are making a certain amount of income, like in my tax bracket, I would rather pay an extra percentage of federal tax to make sure that the indigent, people who cannot afford health care, are taken care of. Then that's great. But what happens is, and I'm sorry that I'm bringing this up, but I was thinking about it, and maybe it'd be of some interest to people. Once bureaucrats start to decide who's worthy of health care and what disease is more important than the other disease, then everyone's fucked up. Then it's up to the bureaucrats to make a decision on your fucking health and whether or not you should wait 6 months for a fucking mammogram. Okay, rant over. Go ahead, man. What can I do for you?
Well, I mean,
sounds like someone was denied coverage for their skin issue.
Here's the good news. I do everything on a concierge basis. So I'm never denied shit. And you know the reason I can do that is because I'm a capitalist and I work my fucking ass off to make a fucking living. If you can't make as much money as I can, that's not my fault. It has nothing to do with my white privilege or whatever people want to talk about. I was published sight unseen. No one knew if I was white, black, Puerto Rican, green, Asian. My name my name may actually, anyway. What's your question,
Listen,
caller?
I can relate to that so much, man. Because I'm a young 22-year-old who's, got his own career and worked hard and got a background of family where I didn't have much of an upbringing and all that. But now that I've got a good job, a head on my shoulders, I can just go ahead and make decisions and all that, and got my own house and stuff. So yeah, life's good. I relate a lot to that. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, and
Very
I'll
cool.
give you a little insight about myself. And this is not I had a great childhood. Well, for the most part, except my dad smelled like Schlitz and Dentyne my entire life. My bathtub was in the kitchen. That's all I'm going to say. That was my reality growing up, and you know what? It did not affect me in any way, shape, or form from figuring out a way to do well in life.
Exactly. Work hard, be smart, educate yourself, and I think you'll go far. That's what I'm doing right now. Young 22-year-old guys shouldn't be having to stress about these things, but here I am, right?
Well, I'm sorry I was your age or a little younger when I started to really stress about my hair loss, and it caused me a tremendous amount of angst and depression, and that's why I do what I do.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's why I'm phoning you guys. I think my story is going to be more relatable to Joe's side because I've been listening to basically every single of his videos. And I'd say my case is very similar in the fact that, 22-year-old, I'm already like a Norwood 3. My dad's a Norwood 6. I have regular brown hair, not fine, not coarse, just regular brown hair. I have my own career, stable income and all that. And this thing has been eating away at me for like the past 2 years, man. I've lost a lot of confidence to a level that even I, thinking back, wouldn't even affect me that much. It's crazy, but anyways, nevertheless, about 4 months ago, I shaved my head off because I decided, fuck it, I might as well just try to look the part if I don't have any more hair in my distant future. But the problem is, try to picture yourself Joe's banner picture on YouTube, right? His head shape where he's shaved. The thing is, I have a similar head shape, although mine is more pointy. So, it's almost triangular head shape. You know what I mean?
That's okay. Well, you're kind of pulling like an LL Cool J. That's why he wears a cap all the time. He takes that shit off. There is essentially a cone happening.
I was going to say he's a conehead from Saturday Night Live.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He still looks fucking awesome, but he has a cone head.
Exactly, and the thing is, it's like I just feel like I'm too young to deal with this shit, But anyways, it's been eating at my confidence for a while, and then I had a consultation about 3 months ago with Dr. Wong. Jerry Wong from Hassan and Wong.
Who?
Show.
I've heard of him. Yeah, I've heard of him.
Jerry who? Just kidding.
Who?
Jerry Wong.
Yeah, I'm just fucking with you, man.
Oh, okay.
He's actually probably the one of the most famous hair transplant surgeons, at least in our culture, in the hair world for sure.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, he definitely doesn't promote himself as a celebrity hair transplant surgeon, which honestly, that shit always fucks me up. If someone promotes themselves as a celebrity hair transplant surgeon, in my view, unless you really understand their work and have seen their work, that is not the way to lead. In my view, when you're doing your marketing, to me, that's like, and I said this before, if I see pictures of my surgeon or someone I'm considering constantly on some red fucking carpet, I cross him off the list, man.
And he doesn't get offended when other people say that he's not one of the best in the world.
Holy shit.
No, in other words, he doesn't. He's got a very manageable ego. Yeah, I know him very well. He's a very good friend of mine, and he's my hair transplant doctor.
I happen to like him very much. I really do. He's a very nice guy. First of all, he's worked with the IHS for almost 20 years, or been a part of what we do. I've had maybe 3 conversations with him, and it's just because he's such a quiet dude. Like, I've seen him in person. It's just like, he'll just shake my hand, ask me how I am, talk a little bit, and then he's off, just doing something else.
Very humble guy.
The thing that I liked about my consultation with Dr. Wong is that he seemed very upfront and honest about my situation. He essentially said 4 months ago, look, there would be work that could be done in my situation, right? I can afford it. It would have to be FUT to maximize the amount of grafts and donor reserve, and I'm fine. I can live with that. But essentially, he said I needed to get on finasteride. So, you know, initially I was like talking about the fear-mongering and all that bullshit. But then I just decided to get my own prescription on Propecia, the generic one, and I started it 3 months ago. And then I shot them an email, told them about it, and then they said, great, well then wait 12 months before you get your transplant. So essentially they're not fucking around. They know what they're talking about, and that's what I love the most about their clinic. You know, before just sending me off to pay a huge amount of money to get this thing, this cosmetic appearance thing that I've been dreaming of for 2 years, they're just waiting for my results on the medication first. They're not telling me to go do it immediately.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about Jerry Wong. You know, I met him back in 2002 when it was kind of funny. I met him after I'd driven up to Vancouver from Seattle, and I parked my car and I was I'd stayed in the hotel the night before, and the next morning I was coming in. It was 6:15 a.m. and I'd caught the elevator from the underground parkade, and I was riding up the elevator, and there's this little short Chinese guy next to me. He's very quiet. I was like, good morning. He goes, hello. How are you? I'm good. How are you? That's good. That was it. We get off the elevator together, and he walks in the office that I'm walking into, and it was Dr. Wong. And he and I started this relationship after my first hair transplant, where, you know, I eventually started working with him. And watching him, or being around him when he would be consulting with patients, or when he would be talking to patients about their issues, you know, I learned a lot from both he and Dr. Hassan, and from my former colleague Mike Furco that no longer works there. Dr. Wong knows, he knows what he can do. He knows what his skill set has, and he knows how good he is. And it's not like a inflated ego type of, I know how good I am. It's, yeah, I know I can do this. I know I can create something for this patient that they'll be happy with. He's never been shy about turning people away. And he does that because he knows that, you know, we've had many conversations about this. He knows that if he turns someone down, that there's a potential someone else will do what the patient wants. In your case, he thought you were too young because you hadn't been on the medication, and you know, there are other issues that probably had to do with age as well. He knows that there's a chance that you'll go to some other doctor and maybe not get the result that you get from him. And but he, you know, it's an ethical conundrum, because it's like, okay, do I take this patient on knowing that he's too young, or excuse me, do I turn him away because he's too young, or do I take him on knowing he's too young, so he doesn't go to some other doctor that's not quite as good as I am, and maybe he wouldn't get a result he'd be happy with. You understand? It's like, I mean, it's a valid conflict. I understand that, but and I credit him for putting some of that in my own approach to patient care. Obviously, some of it comes from my own experiences being your age when I did get fucked up, when I did go to a surgeon that wasn't very good.
Exactly.
But
that's why I can relate to your story the most, is that, you know, I've done my own research. I've educated myself. I wound up here, no hair transplant done so far, currently on the medication for 3 months, and here I am. I was told I could go there and get the transplant, but when he heard I was on medication, he told me, wait, stand by, just go on the medication for 12 months. bring new pictures, get a new consult, and then we'll reassess, right? So right there, I felt like I was in good control and in good care, but it's kind of disappointing having to wait. I can't lie, it's kind of disappointing having to wait another full year just to get the result I've been waiting for a while.
Two things. I want to stress two things about what you just said. First off, I think you sound like you got a pretty good head on your shoulders, so you understand the concept that if you hadn't waited, if you did have the procedure and then started the medication, that there's a chance that you wouldn't have responded to the medication and your hair loss would have progressed, which would have locked you in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But don't forget, and just a side note, don't forget that no matter how good you respond to the medication, once you have a surgery, you're going to have more. Like it's a given. I don't think it's possible for someone your age.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
That was something I was ready to burden with. I was already aiming at probably 2. I was thinking 2 or 3 for full coverage. If I plan my things accordingly, obviously.
But the challenge here is you don't know what financial situation you'll be in 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now, as your hair loss continues to progress. If it progresses to the point where you need more surgery, at some point it most likely will. But my second point was that, and this is something that only I'm saying in response to what you just said about you feel disappointed that you have to wait another year to get the result that you want. Just because you wait, if you wait or don't wait, if you have the surgery, it still doesn't mean you're going to get the result that you want. Because I don't care who you go to. If you go to Dr. Wong, if you go to Dr. So-and-so who's got technicians that do the whole, it doesn't matter. You might still not get the result that you want. I love Dr. Wong.
That's very true.
He's been my doctor for many, many years. He's responsible for everything that's on top of my head and for me sitting here being who I am. But every doctor has patients that don't quite get what they were hoping for. So always remember that. I don't care who it is. Once you're cut, you're cut. You can't go back. And in many cases, you wish you could go back. Okay? So I understand what you're talking about with the cone head, and you're trying to embrace it, but you're trying to deal with this, and you think a hair transplant's going to solve all your problems. I'm here to tell you, it might not be the case. So you have to understand that. You said that you've watched all my videos. I'm going to encourage you to go back to hair transplant class number 1. Don't have a hair transplant, where the message is, if you haven't thought about the downsides, if you haven't thought about the fact that it might not grow the way that you want it to, or even if it does grow 100%, it still might not be to your cosmetic or aesthetic satisfaction, then don't have a hair transplant until you can accept that, until you can say, you know what, I tried. Because sometimes that's all you can do.
Your perspective,
okay?
That I appreciate for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen unhappy patients from. You put the name out there. I've seen unhappy patients from that doctor. It's inevitable. Every doctor has unhappy patients, or has patients that didn't get what they were hoping for. So don't forget that.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Well, I mean, I think you of all people know best how it feels when you even mention that your friends and family start looking more at your forehead more than your eyes. It's pretty depressing, honestly. So certainly at our age, under the 25 range. So
it's as depressing as it seems. As depressing as it seems, being it happening under 25. It's just as depressing when you're in your 40s, or it just depends on your point in life. Everyone somehow thinks that once you get to a certain age, it stops mattering to people. But the reality is, it's really about the time that you're dealing with it. If you start losing your hair at a young age and you become used to everything that you've had to deal with, eventually you adjust and it doesn't bother you as much as you're older. But if you start at 45, it's like you're 21 dealing with hair loss. You start to freak out in the same manner, at least, especially for guys who thought this is not going to be a problem for me ever. I passed a certain point. They're told all this bullshit like, oh, you made it past 30, you're fine. It can happen to anybody at any time, at any point in life. And when that starts to happen, it sucks.
I won't care when I'm 40, or I won't care when I'm 50. Nope. Sorry. Not possible. You care now, you'll care then.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
Did we just drop a truth bomb on you?
Don't mean to bum you out, dude.
I mean, yeah, truly, but well, I guess I'll just have to wait for further options and keep educating myself about the subject, and maybe changing my mentality about that. Joe, you're right. Considering the possible failure of having a scar plus being bald, could happen.
Yeah,
I might be that guy.
Absolutely. And look, I mean, if you bring this up to Dr. Wong and speak frankly with him and say, is this something that you would guarantee that I'll be happy with? He'll tell you no. Like, he'll say no. He might say, well, if you're not happy, then we'll do another procedure. But he'll tell you that it's, it's. I think the way that he says it, or remember the way he used to say it, is there are no guarantees in life, or something like that. He's very zen about it. he's very much the part that he looks, the Chinese Buddhist monk.
But he's right. We've been trying to tell people that forever, and there are no guarantees in life. And listen, we're supposed to do the show on Friday. It can end up just being you. You could be like, you know what, Kobren died. We're going to continue, and that's it.
And thank you for joining us here on the Tillman Show.
Yeah, you can have a little. I mean, I know what Joe's going to do. He's going to change that bottom third. It's going to be
Joe Tillman's the bald.
It's Joe Tillman's the bald. Like, I didn't even fucking exist.
Is this going to take over as the
I didn't already have it made up. What are you talking
about? Goodbye, Spencer.
Yeah, that's it. He already has the fucking lower third made up. It's just waiting. He's waiting in the wings, man. It's all right. Filed that shit away a long time ago. All right, man. Well, listen. I hope Joe was able to help you, and I really wish you the best of luck. And I appreciate your patronage and the fact that you're here, and I'm glad that we're able to help in some way.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Thank you so much, guys, and I will keep listening on to these for further advice and all that. Maybe not call, but I've had many questions answered tonight, especially perspective, right? Like Joe said, with time comes perspective and experience. So, yeah, it is good to hear.
All right, man. Well, listen, good luck.
Feel free to call anytime.
Anytime.
Okay.
I mean, except
Thank you,
when
guys.
we're not doing the show. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. Are you hangry, or do you want to take one more call?
We'll take one more.
All right. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Guys, it's Dante.
Dante, man, how are you?
Hey, what's up?
I'm good. Joe, Spence, how are you guys?
Doing well.
You know what? I can't complain,
Good. There's a 10-second phone call.
Let's do it.
Because you just made the comment. I'm 63. You guys know that. I still care.
Yeah.
So you're right.
We know you care.
Just drive the point home. You're never going to stop caring. Like you said, when it starts later, you said the exact correct thing. That if it starts in your 40s and you're 60, it's only 20 years. You get used to it from 20 to 40. Hard to get used to it from 40 to 60.
It's all. I mean, we're still alive. We have the same fucking heads. I'm like a 15-year-old boy in my head. Shit doesn't change just because your fucking body is decaying.
Yeah, your mind doesn't change. You're right. You still want to do the same things you always did.
Absolutely. I see a 21-year-old chick walking by. It doesn't change my, I don't care I'm 54. I'm still going to look.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So that's all I had to say for tonight. But you're exactly right, and you'll always care. And Joe, you said the exact right thing also. Your hair, your hair keeps falling out as you get older. So a lot of these guys were in their 20s, early 30s with transplants. They're going to fill it in, and then you're going to need more and more because, your hair keeps falling out. Like I said the other day when I called, I'm losing some hair that's permanent, supposed to be permanent transplanted hair. There's no such thing. You don't know. You get older, it goes. It's it's a never-ending battle.
Dude, life is a never-ending battle. It really is. People, that's why I was kind of going on a rant today. Kids have no fucking clue. This new world, what I'm seeing what's going on today through social media and on the news, I'm just like, holy shit. Can you imagine if my father, the greatest generation, had this fucking mentality? I wouldn't exist, and you motherfuckers would be speaking German.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So.
All right, well, that's all I have. Well, good show tonight.
Dude, thank you so much, Dante. I really appreciate the call.
All right, thanks. Have a good night.
You take care.
Hey, buddy.
All right, you too.
All right. Bye. All right, guys, we're going to call it a night. Joe, you there? You look frozen. I said that you just looked absolutely frozen. Okay, Joe, give out the websites. I got to make a text.
The websites are hairlossexperiences.com. It's primarily a UK-based hair loss and hair restoration forum, but being the interwebs, we've all got access, and yes, it's in English. Owner of hairlossexperiences.com, great guy, hair transplant repair patient like myself, and working tirelessly behind the scenes to help other hair transplant repair patients as well. Give them a look. Check them out. hairlossexperiences.com. Next up is bellicapelli.forumfree.it, the Italian hair loss and hair restoration forum. Clinics sharing results. Very passionate patients sharing their experiences. And just like with Hair Loss Experiences, the owner of Belly Capelli is a hair transplant repair patient. Good friend of mine, known him a long time. Great supporter of this channel. Allows us to stream this broadcast through his website. Check him out, bellicapelli.forumfree.it. And finally, we got international-hairlossforum.com. It is the French hair loss and hair restoration forum, clinics sharing results, patient sharing experiences, and a great resource that supports our message. That's international-hairlossforum.com. Check them out.
Speaking of Germans, the only international forum that doesn't allow us, that doesn't want to share this message, just embed the show like how is that going to affect anybody except help them, are the Germans.
Yeah. That's the only international one. Yeah, that we've been in contact with.
Yeah.
I don't know of any others, but
it's a German guy.
Yeah.
The German guy doesn't want to share the show.
How does it benefit him? Was the question.
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's because there's a Jew on the show.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's true. Kidding, not kidding.
Kidding, not kidding. Yeah. I like that one. Kidding, not kidding.
Yeah. All right, guys, listen. What'd you say?
That's okay.
Yeah. Look, you know what it is? I'm going to wear a big Star of David. That's what I'm going to start doing.
So we're in a yarmulke.
Yeah, I'll wear a yarmulke and a big Star of David. I still have my bar mitzvah tallis, the whole thing.
Nice.
All right, guys. Baldtruth.com is the website for archives of this broadcast. Also, if you want to check out the American Hair Loss Association, that is AmericanHairLoss.org. International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. If you're considering anything and everything hair transplant surgery, that is, honestly, in my view, a safe place to start to do your research. It was founded almost 20 years ago already, which is insane. We are expanding the organization. Like I said, the applications have been pretty significant. And in order for us to accomplish our goals, which is to truly educate consumers through social media and every platform online, we have to expand. I can no longer keep it under 70 members. It's not going to work. So there are a lot of new doctors who are doing it right. There are young guys who want to spread our message that surgery is the last resort, that you really need to do your due diligence before you're considering surgery. These are doctors who will put you on or suggest that you get on medication at the right time prior to having surgery, not just a month in or a month after, a month before or a month after. These are guys who will send you home and say, you know what, wait a while. You might be a candidate. It looks like you're going to be a candidate, but let's see how you do in a year. These are guys and women who really care about your well-being. Now, I can't vouch for everybody as far as what's happening during their consultations. Things change. They hire new people. They may hire new technicians, things like that. But we're just talking about level of consistency. That's it. In this fucked up industry that now has thousands of practitioners, these are the real hair transplant surgeons amongst a lot of fucking phonies. In my view, these are phonies, these other guys. And a lot of bad doctors, too.
Yeah.
Wasn't the most popular thing when I started it. Still not the most popular thing. But it's a safe place to start to do your research. That's iahrs.org. Guys, listen, take the time. You're listening to the show. Follow me on fucking Instagram. Let's grow this thing. Finally broke 1,000 this week. Seems like pathetic, but the truth is, it's 1,000 people who are truly interested in this message, who respond, who engage, who want to be a part of what we do. And Instagram is the place to grab people's attention. So even if you have to set up a phony account because you are ashamed of following the hair loss dude, which is crazy to me, but I know that happens, do it. Follow me. Make our resources the most visible resources out there. Joe Tillman's personal YouTube page, youtube.com/hair transplant mentor. Fucking subscribe. It's not such a hard thing to do. Make Joe Tillman's page the most subscribed to, is that correct? YouTube page in this space. Why the fuck wouldn't you want to do that? And also ring the bell. This way you get notifications when we go live. So that's youtube.com/hair transplant mentor. Also, Joe Tillman's personal website is hairtransplantmentor.com. That's everything Joe Tillman, his entire journey. Get to know why he has actually been a co-host of this program for about 5 years. Has it been 5 years?
It has been 5 years. Actually, yes, 5 years. Officially. Well, on a regular basis.
That time, it's insane how fast that time has flown by. And I don't know how I get better. I look better every year. I don't know what that is. Just kidding, people. Yeah. What'd you say? It's Propecia. It's fucking hot. It's finasteride. Anyway, guys, baldtruthtalk.com is the message form. We're going to get out of here. Until next time. My voice just cracked. Until next time. Be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Take care.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.